Oh, well. What a nice day. Blue skies, which means there's going to be wind. There's wind, we get clean air. It's just how it is in Beijing. If we don't have wind, then all the not clean air sits on top of Beijing. Happy New Year. Hope you guys are doing well. And it's at this time, it's actually kind of an interesting time, because if you know anybody who teaches English or works in a university, this is a transition point. And particularly this more pertains towards the Asian region, as I know it, because the school semester runs from September until December or so. Then January is sort of taken off, and then it starts again at the beginning of March, so end of February and beginning of March. So this kind of means that right now is a time when you'd probably be seeing a lot of job postings for ESL teachers, ESL instructors, professors, whether at universities or at schools. Now this could be, typically the international schools will hire on a year-long contract, meaning that would start, well, I want to say it starts in September, but I'm thinking in South Korea, that school year starts in February or March. So it's actually one semester later or earlier than it would be in the Western world, I guess you would say. Why do I bring this up? Well, because it's sort of come up that I'm also thinking of maybe it's time for a job change. And there's a few reasons for it. I've been doing the same job for quite a long time. And I'm thinking, well, you know, what if? Right now I do a lot of one-on-one client work. That is, I meet people face-to-face. Sorry, not face-to-face. I meet them one-to-one. And we talk about things, stuff. The one thing about my current job is that there's no real vacation time. It's just the same all the time. It's the same stuff all throughout, and it never really changes. Whereas at a university, I would have 6 weeks off. Now you might say, well, Steve, sounds like you're trying to escape the reality of a job. And I go, yes, I am. I've met a few other people who've gone back to teaching university or teaching at schools, and they have a month and a half off here, 2 months over there, and I go, and here I am still slaving through it. And if I'm not slaving through the work, then I'm thinking of that I should be working it instead of, just enjoying wherever I was. Now, I just came back from Canada after being there for about a month or so. And people were sort of asking, like, so how are things? And I go, yeah, things are, it's good. I mean, for all intents and purposes, things are just going along. They are quite normal. We're back to normal times. 2024 was relatively uneventful in the sense that no big shakeups or anything. And it kind of looks like 2025 is going to be the same thing. However, given that I have this YouTube channel, quite a few people have asked me, what should I be looking for if I was looking for a job? And that's why I want to make this video now, because this is a time in December, January, you'd be looking for jobs. Likewise, in June or July of the year as well, you'd be looking for jobs that would start September, usually September, around there. To begin with, what would make me change jobs? Actually today I was creating episode 23 of the Language Vlog podcast, which you can listen to on Spotify, Libsyn, and Apple Podcasts as well. I was thinking, well, money would be one thing that would make me change, but going back to university would actually pay me probably half of what I'm making right now. That is, I wouldn't be making the choice for financial considerations right now. What I would be making the choice for is more time. And being back in Canada for such a period of time, seeing my mother getting older, seeing my family grow up as well, I was sort of thinking, like, it would be nice to have a job or a position wherein I didn't have to think that I had to be back at work already. So the university and the school system has it such that for 2 months, you don't have to think about it at all. There's no class prep, there's no marking, there's no administration stuff really. I mean, possibly towards the end of the 2 months, you'd have to start dealing with more administration stuff. But until then, you're just basically it's, do you want to continue on doing the job? Yes, no, yes, okay, well, we'll touch base through email once again. Now, of course, that's a little bit jiaoji for the administration, because how many people say yes and then never show up? Don't know. So it wouldn't be money necessarily, but it would be time. I'd need more time. I was also thinking in terms of this YouTube channel, this podcast that I've got going, and all these other sorts of things. Are they just distractions from the job, or has the job become the distraction from all these different things? They might be saying, Steve, I mean, come on, it's YouTube. I mean, are you seriously going to try to do that? I go, well, it's not so much that it has to happen right now. It's what if I did put a little bit more time into it, what could happen? So that's how I'm approaching it. I don't think I've ever walked through this park before. They do, usually there's like dancing here, like the elders, 10 a.m. I think, and then evening time as well. They come out here and they dance to their, what's it called? Square dancing beats, as it were. So, if not money, then time. And if you got the time, what would you do? Now that we're back to normal, I see a lot more people traveling. Now, you're not supposed to compare yourself to other people. I understand that. But when I see a lot of other people traveling to far off places and going, man, that'd be awesome to go there. Why can't I go there? Oh yeah, because I have a job and it requires me to sit in my apartment in Beijing and do it all the time. You might be like, well, hey, Steve, that's what a job does. I mean, this is very normal. And I go, yes. And part of it is that, hey, I live in China, which is itself kind of cool. I can leave the apartment anytime I wish. I work from home and I can practice my Chinese. I mean, as much as I can practice my Chinese in the 40-minute lunchtime that I get. So this is the point. If I had more time, less money, more time, would I be able to make up the money doing something else? And that's where I kind of look at YouTube, and not just YouTube, working online. This is something I have to keep in mind, that it doesn't have to be necessarily YouTube. It could be something else, such as either doing more consultation work online, or who knows, developing courses and stuff like that that people could download. By the way, I have a course, a Chinese course available right now for free. You can sign up. I'll put the sign up link in the show notes for this video. You can have a look, and if you ever want to get started in your Mandarin Chinese language learning, it's a good place to start. The job is too busy. I don't have enough time. And if I want to make it so that I can go back to Canada for longer blocks of time without thinking that I have to be somewhere else, then I got to make a change. And I'm guessing possibly that change is to change jobs. And if I change jobs, well, where would I change? What would I change to? Going back to teaching university would be sort of the first, yeah, it'd be the first choice that I'd have, only because it's the easiest and it's the most available right now. Again, January is a good time to be looking for this. The next intake would probably be around June or July. If you try to do this in April or May, you're going to have tough time. At that time, March, April, May, the schools and the universities have their staff that they need for that time. You could always touch base, of course, but anyone offering you a job at that time would probably be working for a private school instead. And those, I mean, can be good or they might not be so good. Harder to do some research on them compared to a university. Kawaii. Oh my goodness, are they doing broadcasting as well? Pet care. That's huge now in China. The taking care of your pets, more so than having children, so I'm told. Now, if I change jobs, why don't I change cities? And I'm sure this is something that people who don't live overseas have maybe, I don't think it's as common to think moving cities if you've never left your hometown than if you're an expat. If you're an expat and you're like, well, okay, I'm going to change jobs, but if I change jobs, could I also move cities? Could I change cities as well? I've been in Beijing for 10 years. I like it here, or how can I put this? It's not a bad place to be. For all the stigma and the reputation that China has, and as political as Beijing is, it's been good. It's been okay. It's been livable. It's been survivable. I mean, look at me. Do I look like I'm starving here? No. Da yin fu yin. Print and copy. Yes, yeah. Chinese test passed. So if I change cities, where would I go? Well, China's huge. I mean, I could go up to Shenyang. I can go up to Harbin. I guess I should prelude this. Where you go will depend where the jobs are. And that's why I mentioned that this time of year, January in particular, there's going to be a lot of places that are hiring people, whether they're foreigners, native speakers, whatever. There's jobs available at the universities up for grabs, up for application, I should say. Beijing, Shanghai, Harbin. And if you're not getting a tier 1 city such as Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Chongqing, you could get some tier 2 cities instead. Tianjin, Harbin, Qingdao, Dalian, those are all up in the north. In the south, you can go Jinan, Zhengzhou. Where else could you go? Down south somewhere as well. Chengdu would be nice. It's very nice, so I'm told. So all these different places, like you don't need to restrict yourself to the big cities. I don't have to restrict myself to the big cities here in China. Now, it'd be a very different lifestyle in a smaller city, smaller by a few million, still far bigger than what I'm used to in Canada. And if I change cities, what would I be looking for? Would I be looking for less people all around me all the time? Would I be looking for convenience and delivery options? One thing I would be looking for is these things, the blue bikes, the share bikes. These things are a game changer in terms of life livability. They're all run, the blue ones are by Alipay, the yellow ones are by Meituan or by WeChat. Very cheap, very easy, and every city has them in China. So you get one subscription, it's good throughout the country. I don't know any other country that does that, especially on this scale. Forget the scale. No other country does it. Would I be looking for a city that doesn't have as many Western amenities, you know, burgers and pizzas and beers? Do I even need that stuff? I would need internet. I don't know if I'd want to go that native. I don't think I want to go off grid, especially not in China. Is it even possible? Would I be looking for a place to buy an apartment or buy a house? Would I be looking for a place to live with a mouse? No. So you can go to a smaller city for sure, and it'll be a very different experience. And probably, I would actually guess, if you went to a smaller city, not Beijing, not Shanghai, you went to a smaller city, especially like Chengdu, you would probably have more chances to speak Chinese than in Beijing. Now, relatively speaking, in Beijing, you will have more chances to speak and practice your Chinese compared to Shanghai. Shanghai to Guangzhou, good question. I think Guangzhou, it's a lot more Cantonese down there, but they still do speak Mandarin. Chongqing, if you want like a pure sort of Chinese immersion, Chongqing would be the place to go. That's where it would be Chinese. That's where some people might speak English, but far fewer than Beijing. Beijing doesn't speak English. It speaks English because it's international. It speaks English because it's a capital, but it doesn't speak as much English because it is the capital and it is very traditional. Oh my goodness, it's windy. Here are the yellow bikes, as I mentioned before, owned by WeChat, Weixin. If you ever come to China, you're going to be using that all the time. This is another kind of cool thing, these walkovers. I'm pretty sure these are very common throughout China. I don't see them in many other cities or countries around the world though. China has to have them because they have such big streets with traffic all the time. Changing cities. It would also require me to pack up my apartment. And that's been something that has kept me in Beijing for a very long time. I do not want to pack. I don't want to sort through all the shit that I've accumulated in the 8 years that I've lived there. I don't want to deal with like, Steve, are you ever going to really read those books? Steve, do you need that many dress shirts? Steve, what is this? I don't want to deal with the question, which is one of the reasons why I haven't left apartments. And if I have to move apartments, then why would I stay in Beijing? You see how the argument goes. Is it circular or is it simply, I don't know how you explain that argument. Maybe it's just all of my head. I'm thinking about that too much. Now, let's say change jobs. Do I want to change cities? Do I want to leave Beijing? Do I want to go to some other place like Shanghai or something? Nah, I've never lived in Shanghai. People say Shanghai is a very good place to live. A lot of people who lived in Shanghai say it's a great place, but you're not going to be speaking or practicing Chinese. And I'll tell you, if there's one thing that has also kept me in China, is that I'm like this close to being decent in Mandarin Chinese. And I say that after 10 years of studying the language, but you can see it on this channel yourself. You can see the language checks. I couldn't do that 10 years ago. I couldn't do it 3 years ago. Now, finally, I can do it. Is this the sunk cost? Is it a fallacy, though? I don't think this is a fallacy. Well, even if it is, if I left China, where else would I be able to use Mandarin Chinese? I've talked about this on the channel before. I mean, who else uses Mandarin Chinese, simplified characters, except for people who live or work with or in the mainland? So who would I work with or for the mainland if I was outside of the country? But maybe that's a different argument altogether. How's that? Why did they make him that way? I don't know. I associate this with the Russians because there is a Chaosha in there somewhere that used to sell Russian vodka and Ukrainian vodka as well. What was the brand? Hortitsia vodka, that's what I remember. That's Ukrainian. But they also had a few different ones, and they sold a lot of Russian meats, from what I recall. That was a few years ago. So all that being said, change jobs, change cities, change apartments. If you change cities, would you change countries? And you're going, Steve, are you kidding me? Like, what's going on here? Why all of a sudden this questioning? And again, it does go back to this. Right now is a good time to be looking for jobs. I know that in the, you know what it was? It was going through the airport. I saw a lot of people going to Dubai. You know, I've talked about the Middle East before. I've talked about the Middle East being the retirement home for English teachers because they need people with so much experience and so much blah, 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 that they only kind of look at people who've been doing the job for 10 or 15 years. And guess where I'm at my time in my ESL career? Do I go to Dubai? Do I go to Oman, Qatar? How do you say it? United Arab Emirates, UAE and stuff like that. Is it a good time to go there? And if I went there, I mean, would I bring all my stuff or would I just throw it all out and start again? Do I really want to start again in some other country? What would I learn in the Middle East? Would I learn Arabic? Is that what the prominent language is over there? I am told that even if you move to the Middle East in a place like the UAE or Dubai, you're probably not going to learn Arabic at all. You're probably going to learn, you're going to be teaching and speaking English far more than you would be any other language. You'd have to go to one of the smaller cities that, I don't know. See, this is the thing that I don't know about the Middle East. Are you able to do that? A lot of people probably think the same thing about China, that you can only go to the big cities because that's what's known. Whereas after living here for 10 years, I go, you can go just about anywhere you want. These cameras, they put in just after COVID, like every block, whereas the cameras used to be only on the corners of the blocks. Now they have them halfway as well. I'm sure there's a reason for it. I'm not privy to that answer. Part of this actually happened, this whole video came about because I was telling this guy that I used to work with, I'm like, yeah, I was thinking about going back to teaching because it seems like an easier job. He's like, okay, yeah, but like where? I'm like, well, back in China. I'm still in China. And he's like, still China, still Beijing? Yes. He's like, what? Why would you do that? Why don't you leave? Why don't you go somewhere else? I'm like, that's a good question. Why don't I go somewhere else? Why don't I try something different? I mean, go down to Guangzhou. That's the same country. Hong Kong. Oh, I think I got in trouble for that one time. Well, Hong Kong, China. Dubai, Ghana, Brazil. That's a country. Like, where would I go? What would I want to do? Would I want to start learning a whole new language? Would I want to start learning a whole new culture? Or is this just middle age? Is this like a midlife crisis? Is that what that is? What do non-expats middle crises over? How do they deal with it? Because I'm sitting here going, is this just job change? Is this the country? Is it the people? Is it my job? Or is it simply just me and the fact that I hit a certain point in my life and my career? I'm going, what if I changed? They didn't put the, some of these have little mitts over them. I'll see if I can find them. But it's a new thing this year that I haven't seen before. All right, Steve, you've been talking for a while. What's the conclusion? I'm looking for a new job. I don't particularly want to move cities. But if I'm looking for a new job that's only going to last for 6 months, because that's what a university contract is, or a year, then that means, again, I'm looking in another year, finding a new job, should I move cities? And if I move cities, should I move countries? Is it time to leave China? If not China, then where? I'm interested in your thoughts. And again, this goes back to going through that airport. I saw a lot of people, a lot of different places, and now that we're back in normal times, it's like you can go anywhere in the world your passport allows you to. You can go anywhere in the world pretty much. Now, can you go anywhere in the world and make a lot of money? Can you go anywhere in the world and get a job very easily? Or is it simply that the people who are going to Dubai, the people who are going to Abu Dhabi and to Malaysia and to all these other places, were they going there for work, or was it all just travelers? I don't know. Oh, the hard workers of China. What are these guys doing? Gao Jiahui Show. Good price recycling. This is all scrap metal. Paper, bottles, tin. They're working hard. Not like me. Different jobs, I tells you. Different jobs. What is this? Oh, this is a old people's home. Pardon my Chinese here. Beijing Shi Chaoyangqu. It's Beijing City. Chaoyangqu is a district. Chaoyang district. Is that Yanghe Lao Nian Gongyu? Gongyu is apartment. Lao Nian is older years. And is that Tai He or Tai Shimada Dangshi? Oh my goodness, I gotta look this up because it's gonna bother me. And goodness knows I don't want YouTube to make fun of me. Again. Line. You're not supposed to do it that way, but I will. This one. There. And we got Gong. Gong He Lao Nian Gong Yu. Gang He, 对吗? Gong. That one. Right? Gong He Lao Nian Gong Yu. So it's a respectful, gentle, respectful community, elderly apartment, something along those lines. And there's something new. Gong He. I didn't know that word before. Gong He Gong? Is that what it is? Gong He Gong is the republic, isn't it? It's some sort of a political party. Jiao Zhi, Jiao Xiang Shuang Jing. Not sure what that means. Oh goodness, Steven, you're failing your Chinese class again. So what do you think? Change jobs, stick with the same job. Change cities, stick with the same city. Change countries, or stick with the same country. Tell me, what would make you leave where you're living right now? What would make you leave your current job? What would make you leave your current community, the current place that you live? What would make you leave your city? And I think actually Americans, US Americans, are more likely to move cities for a job than a Canadian is. I don't know too many Canadians who actually have moved cities. That's a lie, Stephen. I know lots of Canadians who've moved cities from their hometowns. I mean, I guess it does happen. I never did. I left the country. What would make someone leave their current city? And if they leave the city, what would make them leave the country to live overseas? And there have been people who've asked me this. You know, they are looking to come to China, or they're interested in the expat life. So if you have anything to add to this conversation, drop a comment in the video below. Love to hear the different answers. Love to hear the different reasons and stuff like that. I'm sure even a lot of the Chinese people who visit this YouTube channel would be interested to find out why people would want to come to the country, or why people might want to go somewhere else. Not just instead, but might want to go somewhere else. All right, folks, I've talked a lot. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. It tells the YouTube algo that I'm doing something right. If you haven't subscribed already, that's okay. I don't take it personally, but if you do, then it also helps tell the algo that I'm doing something well as well. Not only that, if you have any questions, concerns, and if you have anything to contribute to the argument or to the conversation, please do drop a comment. kind of want to hear what you guys are thinking, because since I work from home, I basically just deal with myself and my YouTube channel. So I hope you guys are well. I appreciate it, and I hope you got something from this video as well. Thanks again. We'll do this again. Bye-bye.